I am Jake Anthony. I believe video games should be a basic human right for all mankind. Together, we can make America great again. That's why I approve this message. Hello my peoples of YouTube, it is Jake Anthony here with Project Monkey Man Gaming, and today we're going to go a little bit off base. We're going to talk politics. Yay! Actually, if you know me in real life, I love talking politics. I live and breathe. I never thought I'd do a video on here because how shitty people can be, and I'm probably going to get killed for it, either which way. So, yeah, let's just dive right in. So, I'm going to talk about the Republican primaries right now, and we'll get into the Democrat primaries later. As we all know, I don't know if you guys know, but there are 3 candidates currently in the Republican primary. There's Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and John Kasich, which in my opinion, John Kasich needs to get the hell out because he's just holding things up. The real race is between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz. Trump has 743 delegates. Okay, so I'll explain how this works. Cruz has 517. Kasich has 143. Now, there's a magic number. The magic number is 1237. You need 1237 delegates. And if you don't know what delegates are, it's when people vote in each state in the primary. Whoever wins the state, either the candidate gets the total delegate amounts of that state carries, or they'll separate by district, and it'll go to the candidate who won that district, and that's how it breaks down. So the way the nominee is elected for each party is it has to hit a magic number, and the magic number for the Republican side is 1237. And now everyone's making a big hoopla because honestly, I don't think Trump can hit the delegate number now. He's at 743. You need 1237. Cruz is at 517. I don't think Cruz is gonna get, or Trump is gonna get there. So what's gonna happen is it's gonna go to contested convention, and basically the GOP will be able to pick the nominee. More than likely, if Donald Trump is within 40 delegates to 1237, so if he's at, I don't know, 1198, somewhere around that area, he should be elected to the Republican primary. If not, then it's going to be a crapshoot, and that's going to be weird. I think a lot of people are going to be upset, and that's probably not the way we need to go. That being said, I'll be upfront with you guys. I'll be straight up, because I was debating how I should do this video. Should I be, outrageous, coming out here, cursing obscenities towards a candidate, or should I be real and come at you with some knowledge, and at least my opinion, I'll put it that way. So I decided to go with the latter. I could come on here, start yelling and raving and hoping to get views from that, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. I am a conservative libertarian. So, to the right, or to the Republicans, I'm too liberal or too leftist, and to the Democrats, I'm a fascist and too conservative. So I kind of play right in the middle. Yay. So, if this video gets big, I'm pretty sure the comments will be probably the same, or at least for this video. Well, I'll go into it later about my plans for this. So Donald Trump. My personal feelings aside, there has been some, I think from his protesters, there's been some misinformation. Everyone likes to say he's a racist. He's not a racist. Let's be honest. The thing he said is he wanted to put up a wall on the southern border of America between us and Mexico. Okay. I don't know if that's racist, and I know his comments of all Mexicans are all the illegals are rapists and killers. And that's not true. Let's be fair. Now, I understand what statistic he's quoting, because we have known to have killers and rapists come in from Mexico and commit their crimes here on American soil, which is a problem. And it's a problem when American people do it to American people. That's a problem. And I think it's compounded when you have people who shouldn't be here committing those crimes. But I think that's the path he's trying to go with. Is there is a low number statistically of bad people coming from Mexico. And we know this is with anything. You have a bunch of people in one room, there's always going to be, some bad apples in there. That's just the way it is. That's the way the world works. There's just bad people. And unfortunately, this is the drum he was beating when he talked about illegals being rapists and murderers. Which I understand, because even here in San Antonio, there was a case where there was someone on trial who was put to death because he was illegal. He came over here and he raped and murdered a girl. And this was within the last 5 years. So, yes, we know. As part of as the wall he mentioned, we're going to make Mexico pay for the wall. And a lot of people like to beat their chest. Yeah, we're going to get Mexico to pay for that wall. And the argument against that is, yeah, how are you going to do that? How are you going to make Mexico pay for something to keep their people out? Let's be intellectual here. We know how he's going to do it. He's going to use a tariff tax. He's going to tariff the shit out of Mexico, which in turn will, they pay more money to America to import their items into America. So, what would normally, free trade and free enterprise, they can sell their stuff here on American soil. Now there's going to be a huge tariff tax against them. And that's how he plans to make them pay for the wall. In theory, that sounds like it could work, but in practicality, it's not how it's going to work. Everything that gets tariffed that's coming across that border is going to necessarily raise in prices. That's just the way it works. If it's going to cost more to get here, the people who are buying the product from Mexico have to pay more. And if they have to pay more, the American consumer is going to have to pay more at the cash register because it costs more to get that product here. So it's a never-ending cycle of who's really paying for the wall. I mean, technically Mexico is paying for the wall because of the tariff, but we're in turn paying higher prices for their products, so we're technically paying for the wall as well. So go whatever you want to say about that, that's the truth. Sorry. And it's funny because when I look at the comments on the internets, when I see people talk about Cruz, and I'm talking about Trump supporters, they call Cruz a fascist, which is funny because honestly, they need to learn the definition of what a fascist is. And anyone who has more fascist tendencies, it is going to be their candidate, Donald Trump. Donald Trump could be a fascist. Don't get me wrong. He's already come out and talked about expanding libel law, I think it's libel law, which how the media can talk about somebody. So if somebody is putting down Trump, or someone is talking bad about Trump, he could sue them as a way of making them be quiet, or having them go away, or fear of them. You know what, let's not say nothing bad about the guy, or he's going to sue us. And I mean, talking about a fascist, you're talking about silencing the media. That goes against the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. It's the First Amendment, freedom of press. The press has a right to freely, as long as it's not slanderous, if it's true and the shoe fits, if it's bad about you, not bad about you, They have the right to print it, the right to say it, and that's just the way it is. And he's already come out and said, well, he wants to expand libel law, or I think it's libel law, right? Hold on. Let me make sure. Okay, yeah, libel law. To quote Donald Trump, we're going to open up libel laws. That's what he said. Yeah. I mean, it's to stifle the media. It's to stifle press. I think that's a little bit looking the way he thinks of things. He is a big revenge guy, so if you're on his bad side, you're always going to be on his bad side, and he's not going to like you. The last thing we need as a presidential candidate is to have someone who has a hit list. Why do we need that? And not to mention the brown shirt like supporters he has. And that's another thing going into the racist thing. Donald Trump, I don't think inherently is a racist. I think it stems from the fact that his supporters, not all his supporters, some of his supporters are racist. I mean, they're white supremacists. I mean, that's racist, obviously. And you had those calls going out in certain states about let's keep America white and all that, and it's sickening. It's sickening. And it got blown up because Trump is Trump, and that's just how it is. And then you have, like I said, the brown shirt like people or supporters he has, where they're just like a mob, that mob mentality of, if you don't agree with us, we're going to shut you up or you're going to join us, and that's not how it should be. So Ted Cruz, this is funny because the Republican or the Democrats have something similar going on in their party with Bernie Sanders. I think there are two revolutionaries in this race, one on each side. Ted Cruz is one of them. Bernie Sanders is another. Ted Cruz is a traditional constitutionalist. Bernie Sanders is a democratic socialist, which I don't think he understands that term or where that term derived from. We can go into that later. But he's a Democrat socialist. Ted Cruz is a traditional constitutionalist. And I think if those two were ever paired off in a general, I would be amazing. For the simple fact of you have two complete opposites. And America has a chance to voice their opinion. Do we want to stay a constitutional, free market system or America, or do we want to go more down a socialist path? And they're both revolutionaries because, let's face it, the GOP, they don't really care about the Constitution. They say they are, but they play the game the way the Democrats play the game. Let's be honest. It's the way it's always been. George Bush did it because he was a progressive. Bush before him, his dad did it too. He was a progressive. That's just the way it worked out. That's just who they are. They're progressives. And that's fine because, as Hillary Clinton said, she is a 20th century progressive as well, along with Barack Obama. So politics are played the same on both aisles. And that's why I believe that he is a revolutionary, because he's different. He's not Ronald Reagan. He is Calvin Coolidge. If you kids out there don't know who Calvin Coolidge is, go ahead and look him up. He did a lot of great things. And I think that's who he's like more. He's not Reagan, he's Coolidge. And then you have Sanders, who is an open democratic socialist. I believe, and that's the reason why I like Sanders as well, because he's honest. He's not a closet socialist as Hillary Clinton is. He's upfront about it. And anyone who's upfront about it and who's willing to have an intellectual debate about it, I can support that. I can get behind that. That's why I would like to see Sanders win on the Democrat side. But Cruz, yeah, he's a constitutionalist. He's, as Trump says, he's Lion Ted. But let's be honest, he's not really Lion Ted. He is a straight shooter. He is, he's a man of his word. He's a man of conviction. And because of that, you can trust what he's saying he's going to do when he gets into office. And that means a lot to me. If I can take a politician at his word, and let's face it, I know people like to say, well, Ted Cruz is part of the GOP. He's one of them. He's Hydra. No, he's not. If you honestly looked into his background, you'd see Ted Cruz has opposed a lot of what the GOP has put forward. He's not liked by anybody in the GOP. It's just now recently that Mitt Romney and Jeb Bush have backed him because it comes down to the idea of sticking to the devil you know. They know Ted Cruz. He's a man of his word. He's a constitutionalist. They know how to work with that. They've worked with that in the past. They understand how he operates. And I think that's the reason why you're going to see the GOP back Ted Cruz. Even though they're not going to want to, they don't like him, but they will. Versus Donald Trump, because Trump is a chameleon. He's given money to the Clintons for so long. He's a liberal. He's a New York liberal. It's what he is. That's what he is at heart. And if you can't see that, if you can't look to his past to understand who the man is, then I don't know. You're not an informed voter. Let me put it that way. Because Trump, he's even come out on, there's videos of him floating around the internet, on TV, on networks, and you have Fox News eating out of his hand. You have him coming out saying if he would ever to run for president, I'm paraphrasing, he would run as a Republican because they're a bunch of idiots. I thought the Republican voter was smarter than this, but I don't know why they look past it. I think it's because the Republicans see him as their Barack Obama, maybe, because he keeps spouting, we're going to build a wall, and we're going to make Mexico pay for it. We're going to kill ISIS. We're going to crush them. Even though he doesn't have any advisors advising him on how to do it. He has no strategy, no plan. Whenever he's asked about it, he either says, you know who my advisors are? I have the best advisors. You know who my advisor is? I consult me. That's what he said. It's like, no, you're not an advisor. You're a businessman. You need people to advise you on, what's happening in the world, how to deal with ISIS, how to handle them. And then it's just mind-boggling. And then he comes out and says, I have the best words. I was like, I don't understand how you could vote for this man. I don't. But yet 30 to 35% of America keeps voting for him. That's your right. I respect your opinion and your right to do it. But to me, it's mind-boggling. If you just do any research for yourself, stop listening to Fox News, stop listening to the media, go out there and just do a little research. Because I guarantee you this, if it's Trump versus Hillary, all that stuff is coming out about Trump. I guarantee it. The media itself is left leaning as it is already. And I think that's the reason why there hasn't been a huge, massive dump on Donald Trump yet. They're hoping he'd win the primary. When he gets in the general, all hell's going to break loose for him because all this stuff that in his past is going to come out. Oh, how shitty of a person he is, about how flip-floppy he is, how he'll say anything to get voted in. That's the case. And I think it's even more the case now because now there's rumors coming out saying that he never intended of winning or coming this far. He was getting in it to raise his stock of celebrity because he was coming up with a deal with NBC to renew Celebrity Apprentice. All right, now you have a former candidate running for president who won 10-15% of America. Your stock is going to weigh a little more. But all of a sudden, he started winning in the primaries, and now he's getting a little taste of it. Now he wants to win, which is scary. Because if he got into it just to boost his stock, to get NBC to pay him more money for Celebrity Apprentice, And now he's going to become president of the United States. That's just amazing. It's mind-boggling. I hope America doesn't let that happen. I hope they don't. I didn't want this video to turn into Let's Bash Trump, which it's kind of turned into. Anyways, Ted Cruz can't hit the 1237. He won't be able to. But he could pass Trump for delegates, and I think that's his path for victory. Because if he can pass Trump in the delegate count and it gets to the contested convention, I think it should go to the nominee with the most delegates. That being said, if Donald Trump has the most delegates, he probably should be the Republican primary winner, which sickens me to say. But I'm going to be fair on both sides. Cruz is going to have to bring it. Kasich needs to get out. And there's been rumors of Marco Rubio getting back in at the very last second at the right before the contested convention, because then the GOP can elect Marco Rubio, which I think there'll be a huge backlash from that. So I don't know. So yeah, Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, who wins? You decide, America. This is all up to you. This is when we can voice our opinions, voice our thoughts, and this is the time when we can affect change. And I think more so in this election than ever. Usually in elections, the candidates don't very much vary from each other, but in this one they do. In both primaries, there's a huge difference between Trump and Cruz, and there's a huge there's not a huge difference between Hillary and Bernie, other than one's not a liar and one's open about his ideas, which I think is a huge thing because at least he's honest. So, two revolutionaries in both parties. We'll see. I actually plan to do a 2 or 3 part series on this. So today was Trump versus Cruz. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sure if enough people watch this video, I'll get a lot of hate. That's fine. I don't care. Just my opinion. Just like you have your opinion, whoever you're voting for, you're about that guy. I'm strictly about not one guy, period. And I'm about policy over politics. So that's going to determine who I vote for in the general. I know who I want to win overall, but I know who I could vote for if certain people were elected from the primaries. That being said, this is going to either be a 2 or 3 part series. So today was Trump versus Cruz. Either Sunday or Monday will be Hillary versus Bernie. I think that'll be a lot more fun because of who they are and the delegates that are needed to secure the vote there, which is, if you don't know, 2383 needs to be secured to win the Democrat primary, and Hillary's at 1749 when Bernie's at 1061. So Bernie has a lot to work to do there. Hillary has a lot of the super delegates as well, which is affecting the vote a lot. If you think if all the super delegates wouldn't go to Hillary, Hillary would be at 1280, Bernie would be at 1030. It's closer than what Trump and Cruz are right now. So, I don't know. Anyways, yeah. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. I'm sure you guys will let me know down in the comments if you didn't like it. If you didn't like it, oh well, it is what it is. And subscribe. Always subscribe to the channel. We'll do this. Subscribe to me, Jake Anthony. If you like my content, if you like what I'm saying, or if you like the premise of what I'm saying, I promise you we'll eventually get back to video games. I just think for the season of politics that we're in right now, I think it's important to get the voice out. And I need to get the voice out, because I don't have small hands like Donald Trump. And that's another thing. Trump is weird about his hands. When they call, I don't know, Marco Rubio touched on it. He made fun of his small hands. It's been well documented in his past that he's weird about his hands. And do we really need a president who's weird about his hands? Like, could you imagine if Putin can put up posters of big hands all around him every time he's talking to Trump? That would be funny. I mean, to see Putin troll Donald Trump with posters of big hands everywhere, and he has little small hands. I don't know. That's just weird. That's another reason why it's mind-boggling why 30%, 35% of America is voting for Trump. Anyways, I digress. We're trying to end this video. So if you guys like the video, you like me, Jake Anthony, hit the like button, subscribe, comment, but please always subscribe. Like I said, Sunday, Monday, I will be doing the Democrat primary, and hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave the comments down below if you'd like to see me do more. Like I said, I might do a third video about matchups. I'll make this like the NCAA matchups. About the matchups. If it's going to be Ted Cruz versus Clinton, is it going to be Donald versus Clinton, or Donald versus Sanders, or, you know, Donald versus Hillary? I'm going to go into that and what that could mean for America and how at least I would lean in voting. Like I said, this is an opinion piece. It's all based on opinion. Some fact, a lot of opinion. It's just me, Jake Anthony. So, I'll see you guys next time. Like Donald Trump's small hands, which I don't have. Peace. Trump loves Pecker.